What's up, guys and gals? It's your boy Jeff coming to you with Extreme Nerd Table, and I have Marco with me this week, finally. In it for a couple of weeks.
Yo, what's up? How's
Yeah,
everyone doing out there in the world of
yeah.
comics?
Comic
Right?
Land.
Comic land,
Yeah,
fan lovers of comics.
yeah. So we were just before we started. We were actually talking about the Godzilla and King Kong trailer. So, what did you think?
Uh, it is amazing. Dude, this is how awesome that Godzilla vs King Kong trailer is. Is I watched it as soon as that song kicked in,
Uh huh.
The Chris Classic hip hop anthem kicked in,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh shit. And then uh, Godzilla goes, King Kong goes and punches Godzilla in the face. I lost it. As soon as that trailer was over, I watched it again.
Okay.
Then, maybe like 10, 15 minutes later, I watched it 2, 3 times in a row. Then I watched it later on when I was walking. I do cardio and then weightlifting. So today was
Right.
cardio day. So when I was walking back, I popped my phone out and stopped the music I was playing and watched the trailer one more time while I was walking. So this trailer was so good because
Mhm.
literally it had two amazing what the fuck moments which you needed to have, and you
Mhm.
need and these two moments explain how is King Kong gonna fight Godzilla. The
Right.
first one is you see, like they said in Skull Island, King Kong wasn't at his full size yet.
Right.
He wasn't done growing. So you see how big he is when they're on that
Boat on that yeah, on that
liner, yeah, the huge
yeah,
fleet,
yeah,
the military ship.
yeah.
I'm forgetting what they call those. So you see him, and Godzilla goes doom doom, and then like King Kong punches him in the face, and then he like knocks him off the boat, and you're like, okay, like there's that, and then you're like, okay, how is he gonna handle the atomic breath? And then they do that quick flashback, which I'm guessing is a flashback
Right.
when they go, oh, the myth is true. There was a battle a long time ago, and these two are the last ones. And then you see King Kong in the city jump with that axe
Mhm.
that looks like it's either made of a special rock or the axe is made from one of King Kong, like maybe a previous, not King Kong, maybe a previous Godzilla.
Mhm.
Because in some of the Godzilla movies, I think one or two of them, there was the idea that there was a Godzilla, before Godzilla. You
Right.
know what I
Right.
mean? And with this King Kong, I think they've said that there was a previous, ape or ape
Right.
family when you watch. It's been a while since I watched Kong Skull Island. So, but that axe that he has looks like it's made of like, possibly also like Godzilla fin. Because like when he
Right.
comes down with it, like
Yeah.
Godzilla shoots that atomic breath and he comes down, he's like, "I got your breath, bitch." I was just like, "Oh my, it's too good. It's gonna be. I
Yeah.
can't wait." I mean, I'm definitely not chancing going to the theaters and getting COVID, but I'm definitely watching it on the 55-inch screen TV downstairs and
Right.
when it hits
Or
HBO Max.
or we gonna have all of us pitch in $200 and actually just get us get one for ourselves and just sit
Right,
in.
right. I was like, "Oh God, it is." It is. I wonder where that $200 comes up. Is it just to see the movie? Is like the food separate? Because $200 might not be a bad thing if you get enough people. Like
Yeah. That's
I wouldn't want to pay $40. Like if we got 5 people, I wouldn't want to pay $40. But if we got a
right.
good number of people, I wouldn't mind paying $20 to have a theater alone. If
Right.
you get like 10 people, $20, and you have a theater
Yeah.
alone with 10 people that you like.
Yeah.
Me, you, Randall, like 7 other people. Like that might be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That might be cool.
Yeah.
What'd you
That'd be
think?
not. I actually enjoy it, but a lot of people don't know that I'm like really a like King Kong and Godzilla fan in the first place. Yeah, I grew up on Kong and Godzilla, you know what I mean? But and I'm Asian and everybody thinks I'm gonna pick freaking Godzilla, but I think honestly I think Kong's a little, you know what I mean, a little more of little like us, you know what I mean? He has more brains, so you know what I mean. It's he's gonna
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I'm Team Kong.
Yeah.
Hashtag Team Kong.
Yeah. But I know there's gonna be a bunch of them that are gonna be Team Godzilla. But I mean, I'm both. But I have a feeling like I was telling you before we started, it's gonna end up in a draw where they want Kong, you know what I mean, Godzilla Kong 2 or something like that. You know what I mean? They're gonna
That's the thing. I don't know. Like, I remember last year the talk being, this was like,
right.
I think last year or 2019, like before, COVID became a thing. I remember the
Right.
talk. I remember the talk was the contract was until 2020 for Toho and
Right.
Legendary Pictures,
Right.
and after 2020, years ago the idea was, well, maybe they'll extend it come 2020. But
Right.
then, from what I remember reading, was Toho was really wanted to get going on doing their own Godzilla films again.
Uh,
Because they did that Shin Godzilla film, which I think was a one-off that was allowed, but with the
right.
deal, like I think Legendary was like, you can do that one. Toho has all the TV rights, and
Right.
that's why you see all those the 3 anime films that came out on Netflix, and then the new anime that's coming out. But I think so that the talk is that Toho wants to, get back to doing their own films, which I'm fine with, because with the way with the way special
Right.
effects are now,
Right.
I think Japan, I like Shin Godzilla, but it was doing more of the classic, like a 21st century take on more of the classic special effects,
Right. Right.
mixed with some of the newer
Right.
special effects. But that movie is like, I don't know, like 5 years old, maybe like 6. I don't remember how long it is.
Right.
So I could see that Toho, if they did something new, like it would probably be just as amazing as the American films.
Mhm.
Because they don't have to do those type of huge, like 150 million, 200 million budgets.
No.
For Japan, a big budget is like 35. I mean, if Toho did a Godzilla film, it'd probably be like $50 million film, and that's a huge. That's the equivalent of us doing a $200 million film.
Right.
I
remember when I was a kid. I remember there was Ultraman and Godzilla, wasn't it?
No, it's something Jet. It's something Jet. It's a character that was created specifically. I don't know if I don't remember if originally they wanted it to be Ultraman, and then the deal couldn't go through or whatnot. Because it was a lot of those guys played, the people who created Godzilla and the suit guys who were in the Godzilla and the monster suits. I think a lot of I'm not 100% sure about this. Someone with more knowledge would know better. I think a lot of those guys, kind of like when you're in the stunt field or when you're in the special effects field, you tend to cross path these same people and work on the same projects.
Right.
Godzilla came out in the 50s. Ultraman came out in the 60s.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if at one point they had discussed with the owners of Ultraman and the Toho, the owners of Godzilla, and then that fell through. So they're like, screw it, we'll just create a character. And it was something. I think it's called something Jet. And that character is also going to be appearing in the anime, the new anime that's coming soon. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, like you, I grew up, watching the Godzilla films, watching Kong.
Right.
I later on watched Gamera. Gamera is my favorite. If you ask me my favorite Japanese monster, it's Gamera.
Right.
Watched Gamera later. I grew up on Power Rangers, Ultraman.
Yeah.
I love all that craziness. Guys in suits, guys growing big, monsters, mechs, robots. Pacific Rim was a great, oh shit, giant robots and monsters, and so to see that we've gotten 1 Godzilla film, 2 Godzilla films, King Kong film, now Godzilla versus Kong.
Right.
We got 2 Pacific Rim films.
Right.
I'm just keep this train going.
My biggest joke is gonna be the next movie is gonna be Kong versus Kong and Godzilla versus other Mothra and all those other guys. It's gonna be.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I wouldn't mind if they hit a new deal where it was Toho can do their films and Legendary can do films, as long as they don't do a film that comes out in the same year.
Right. I wouldn't mind seeing Toho stuff either, man. Because Toho was the originator of Godzilla in the first place. I wouldn't mind seeing what their ideas would be for them,
Yeah. So it would be amazing, because could you imagine? You could have it, as long as they're not releasing films on the same year.
But
you could have it where it's 1 year you get an American Godzilla film, the next year you get a Japanese Godzilla film.
Right.
It would just be fantastic.
or just merge them both together and have them both work together.
Dude, I would love it. You know, going through a portal. I remember they had talked a while back, and it was just like small talk, I think. And I remember reading that there was talk of a Pacific Rim / Godzilla film.
Right.
You know, and that I'd still be like a giant robots and Godzilla. I mean, come on. I mean, bring back those aliens from the first film.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much coolness that could happen there. If that's the last ever Godzilla American film we get, I would love it to be Pacific Rim. You know, Godzilla. Yeah. You know, that would be awesome.
I mean, I think depending on how much money that this one makes, and Toho, you know what I mean, Toho probably, hey, maybe we should renegotiate this deal here.
That's what I hope. I mean, it's coming out. I mean, unless they move
March 23rd.
Now, is that the new date or is that the previous date? Hey,
that's
Jeff.
That's the new date. Yeah.
How's it going, Jeff?
Yeah, that's the new date. That's the new date. I looked. Okay. I looked it up before we hopped on.
So, I think it's gonna do well.
But the only problem with that is because for some reason they ended up moving the damn Snyder Cut too.
Oh, so you think they moved the Snyder Cut back?
No, they didn't. They didn't move it back. Somehow the rumors going around, they moved it right on top of it. Like, for some reason, they moved it right in between it, like right on top.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting because that's gonna take from.
That's a rumor going around, but that's not completely true. That's like a rumor that she's heard. Some of the people heard.
That's gonna take from, if that's true. That's gonna, that's. I think it's a bad move because it's both of those films are taking away from each. I mean, they're not really taking away from each other because you can Friday watch Kong and then Saturday watch Snyder Cut. I mean, it's on streaming. It ain't going nowhere.
Right.
But so it's not really taking away from anybody. Like like if it was a theatrical release where they both got released in the theater, then they'd be taking money away from each other. But maybe the reason they're putting, if it's true that they're putting them on top of each other, because they want to be like, boom, look at this weekend, March 26th. We're giving you not only, Kong, Godzilla vs. Kong, we're also giving you Snyder Cut, bitches. Look at two of the biggest things happening in one weekend. Don't go leave your house. Just watch it on HBO Max. Give us your money.
So what do you think, Randall, of this? The Kong and Skull Island. Have you seen it yet, the trailer?
I saw the Godzilla versus King Kong. It looks great. I love the scene. I love the part in the trailer where you see King Kong jumping off the ship. He's jumping off the ship as if he was John McClane in Die Hard.
That's what everyone was saying. He's jumping off like Bruce Willis.
As soon as I saw it, I kind of started laughing, but I was like, I love it. I like it.
Maybe it's Bruce Willis in a monkey suit.
It's like I'm excited. I mean, I would love to see it in the theater, but one thing I will say that, and it won't be one of those situations where I'm like, oh, I'm enjoying it so much I won't ever go back to the theaters, because I love the theater experience. Me and Randall love.
We all love the theater experience, man.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things is that Randall's favorite thing too, I can say, is that we love to go to these movies together. We love, it's one of our friend things we like to do, is go to these big movies or go with a bunch of other friends. We're not, just be like, oh, just me and Randall. But we like to go to these things. But the cool thing that I like is I also kind of like the comfort of being home and watching the movie. And I wouldn't mind, I will say this.
One thing is, at least you're closer to a bathroom. At least you don't have to go. At least you don't got to go running.
I can pause. Randall can suffice this. I have a great bladder, but there's some times where we watch the movie and Randall's like, you shouldn't have drinking all that drink, and I go running down to the bathroom and I come up and I'm like, what did I miss? And at home you can just pause, go to the bathroom. Like when I watched Wonder Woman 84, because I drink a lot of water, and I was like, oh, I gotta pause it. Went to the bathroom, came back, started where I left off.
That's one good thing about the streaming service thing. But you leave the experience of in a theater with a big screen. You know what I mean? If you don't have a big screen TV,
what I would love to see happen in the future is, I don't want cinema to go away, because I don't like the idea of everything becoming digital. I think it's harmful, more harmful when everything becomes digital.
Right.
But I wouldn't mind the idea because mostly
the one thing is comic books is fighting that, trying to fight it. You know that if you notice.
Now the one thing I like is, me and Randall tend to spend our money more on the big films. And, not that we don't want to go see smaller films, but when you have so many big films coming out and we're fanboys of this stuff, there's only so much money you have going around.
Right.
When they had stuff like Movie Pass, me and Randall would we'd see small films, big films, medium films. We'd see obscure films. Randall would be like, I heard this movie's kind of good. Want to go see it? I'm like, okay, let's go. So all movies got saw by us. Hey, Connecticut Comics. So but now, you got to be very selective, even though AMC has their thing. And what does he say? I went and saw New Mutants, no concessions, roped off in and out. It just felt weird and unsafe. Didn't help the movie suck. Can't wait for it to be safe again. No concessions. I'm not going to the theater then. I don't I'm not saying I get popcorn and drink all the time, but
I understand why, because don't forget these guys have to clean it up,
I get it, but what they should do is
But don't forget those drink things are filthy. Don't forget those drink. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing: they can do. They can offer canned sodas.
But joking around, don't forget they hire teenagers, and teenagers are lazy. You know that. So we've all been teenagers. How.
But they can get bottled soda, canned soda. They can do packaged hot dogs. There's things you can do to offer concessions. Because especially if I'm going to go to see a movie during a pandemic in the quote unquote safe theaters, then you better have some concessions of some type. Because if not, then it's like I can see this movie at home.
I'm joking around. You're going to go in there and then it's going to be like a Pope box you're going to be sitting in.
And Randall knows how it is when Marco gets hungry.
No, but joking around, it's going to be a Pope box you guys are going to be sitting in it's going to be like bulletproof glass.
But let me real quick.
If it's a Pope box, I'm going to feel like Christopher Reeve in Superman 2.
What? But let me real quick say what I was going to say. What I would like to see happen, though, for the big movies, is that, a movie comes out in June, and then in July, it's available still in theater, but also on streaming. So that way, if I go see the movie the first week it's released, then a month later, I can have the joy of watching it again, immediately. Because it's a month, I go watch a big WB movie in the theaters, comes out in June, and then a month later, this is 2022, a month later it comes out on HBO Max. And it's like, sweet, I really like this movie. Now I'm gonna watch it again on HBO Max. Like that would be awesome. Like I think that for big movies, that should be a thing because they mostly make all their money in the first month anyway. Anything after that is just if there's nothing else, then they might make some more money. Who buys food at movie theaters? I always snuck mine. Okay, I sneak in popcorn, but I like to buy the soda at the movie theaters. And
sneak in popcorn.
No, sorry. I sneak in candy. Candy.
Man,
everyone sneaks in candy.
Have you not gone with an Asian person yet? A real Asian person?
I just see Marco over there like pulling out like one of those bags of popcorn, and he pulls out like a lighter. And he's like warming up the popcorn while we're in the theater, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Don't worry, in 30 minutes it's going to be ready."
But no, I sneak in candy. Everyone sneaks in candy. No one pays for candy at the whatchamacallit.
I've snuck in drinks. I've snuck in like a whole pizza before.
I've snuck in drinks when it was like when you cold weather, which is mainly like December, January, Florida, and you got your hoodie. So in the front pocket, you put the drink, the food. I used to have jeans, the baggy jeans with the side pockets. So I put the candy in there. And if it was like M&Ms, I would walk slowly because you don't want the candy rattling while you're walking, and then people looking at you like, "Why is that dude rattling?"
That's why you should reinvest in Jinko jeans again. Those pockets were huge.
Here's the thing. I wish they had here, and I think they're gonna have one in Orlando. I mean, I don't know now if they're gonna have it in Orlando because of the pandemic. But in Texas and in New York and California, it's not a huge chain, but Randall's been to the one in Texas. It's called Alamo Drafthouse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard of those.
It's great because the way it's done is there's these gyros in the pocket. The way the Alamo Drafthouse does is a bar across from your seat, like, you know, and you basically, so there's rows and there's bars across the rows, and there's menus, and there's a little paper, you write down what you want. The servers come, they duck down, they grab it, and they go farm with you, and they go grab the food. And University
University Mall has a place like that.
Yeah, I heard about that, but the one thing about that I like about Alamo Drafthouse is the food is reasonably priced. It's not expensive. Like your drink, if you get a soda, it's unlimited, and it's like $5 or $6.
They do they do some themed stuff. Like I remember me and Joel, we went to go see the Asian film, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, at Alamo Drafthouse. And before the movie played, they were playing like all these like, you know, Western like, you know, cereals and like, you know, even like cartoons that were like Western themed, and it was like, you know, like it was cool. Like they were playing all of this before the movie was playing, you know, and yeah, you know, they have the affordable food there. Like it sucks too. Like all the movie theaters, all of them, they've all taken a big hit, you know. And I've heard that Alamo Drafthouse had to close like a couple locations.
Yep.
And so I'm sure because of the pandemic, if they were planning to open Orlando, they probably halted on it. And the sucky part is there's probably a strong chance that they're just going to change their minds and say, "Hey, we can't afford to do this right now."
Yeah, and it's a great place because, like Randall said, the food is reasonably priced. Like, you know, the pizzas they have are like $10, $12, and they're personal pizzas, and they make them, you know, from scratch. And it's just like it's the type of experience you want in a theater where you pay the theater ticket price and you can get food that's at a good price where you don't feel like you're breaking the budget. So it's like eating dinner, watching a movie, and it's awesome, you know? AMC opens up again in Chicago in a few weeks. Missed the movie experience. Yeah, man. Nothing beats that shared experience. Like, this is the perfect example of the shared experience when me and Randall went to go see the last Avengers film.
Right.
And the scene where Thor is fighting Thanos, and then when Thanos gets hit with the other hammer, and it comes back, and Cap has that hammer in his hand.
Yeah.
Everyone in the theater lost it.
Yeah.
You can't have that experience at home. If you're at home, it's only you losing it, you know?
Yeah.
Or you and your friends.
Or if you're watching it on a Zoom, like a Zoom thing.
You don't have that communal experience of everybody erupting into like, oh my God, I can't believe this shit is happening. Right. You know? You can't recreate that at home. Sorry, you can't. It's impossible. Right. You know. So you could
try. You could try, but then you know.
I was reading today. Somebody posted the report that we're now at, I think 1.3, 1.6, 1.4. I forgot it. But we're at 1 point something million vaccinations a day, and we're on the way to hit like 2 million a day. So hopefully,
I heard recently, especially of course of all places, in Florida, they say that roughly 50% of the people who have started to take the vaccinations here in Florida have not come back to get their second shot. In fact, they failed and missed the window of when they were supposed to have their second shot.
So now you start all over again.
Yeah, it was all wasted. So.
But my point of bringing that up though was that like I feel we're heading towards that. You know, by 2022, you know, beginning of 2022, we can all like walk outside and be like, "Yay!"
Without getting too political, I mean, the fact that we've got Biden in, Biden's going to speed things up. You know, Trump was really, in my opinion, wasn't trying to fix this. He was just like, "Oh, it'll just go away. It'll go away, or it'll fix itself." And it's like, no, that's not. So
I got something to bring up. Anyways, what do you guys think of the remake of? Have you guys seen the CW's remake of the Dan Walker Texas Ranger? The one no Chuck Norris.
I've seen the trailers for it. I hear it's okay.
I saw the trailers.
I've watched the first episode. I actually watched the first episode because I grew up on this. I was a big big fan of it.
Did the show already come out?
Yeah, it's on the CW app already.
Oh, so they launched it early on the app, but when does it launch?
No. It launched Thursday on TV.
In January.
Oh,
yeah,
crap!
Thursday.
I gotta watch that with my dad then. So I used to watch the original Walker with my dad all the time.
But the funny thing is, they have the actor from Supernatural, Sam actually, the character plays Sam, actually plays Walker.
Yeah.
He actually plays Cordell. It's actually kind of
I like that because he's from Texas. So if people don't like the show, it's like, well, that's a real Texan playing the Texan.
Right.
I saw the trailer.
But what would be cool? What would have been cool would have been if they had the father be actually Chuck Norris playing the father. That would be kind of cool. That would have been kind of cool.
I always like when they do that. Like I currently watch the new Magnum PI with my father, and they have this mystery going on where Magnum in the new season, he's being pursued by Splash Page Comics. He's being pursued by this white van, this white vehicle, and they don't know who's the owner who's pursuing him because that vehicle is rented. Right. So they don't know who's pursuing him. So my theory is that it's Magnum's dad, and the dad is going to be played by Tom Selleck.
That'd be cool.
Even though Tom Selleck said he doesn't have time to be on the show and he wishes them the best, but things always change.
And plus, it's the pandemic too. So
and my dad's theory is that it's not his dad, because my dad thinks his dad is dead. Because I think they mentioned his dad was dead. But, there's always the thing about these shows. It's always surprise. I'm not dead, son. Right. But my dad's theory is that it's his uncle, and Tom Selleck is going to play the uncle. And so Magnum's uncle. Which either way, I hope it's at least Tom Selleck. You know what I mean? Because it would be a great, nice, thing to do to have him show up on the new Magnum. Even if it's just a one-off episode. Right.
It would be nice to have if the Walker, the new Walker would have like a lot of the old cast come back. You know what I mean? Like
I would love it because I think what's his name, who was Molly and Skolder's boss. He plays Walker's dad.
Yeah. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like that too. It's just it would be kind of funny to say, hey, his brother is.
or they could literally have it where he's playing the grandfather.
Yeah.
What is it? Splash Page got to meet Chuck in Dallas Fan Days 2 years ago backstage in the parking garage. Load-in, talked for about 15. That was awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, I want to see the show. I didn't know it was already. I thought it was like a month or so.
Because I saw it on the app last night. I'm like, oh, all right, I'll check it out. I actually like it. Don't get me wrong. I actually like it.
I like what they did. The changes. You can't. I know some people are going to be like, it's nothing like it. We can't have the same. I like that idea. Like this dude's a dad.
Right.
He's got 2 daughters.
Not 2 daughters. A son and a daughter. That's what it is.
Son and a daughter. Yeah. He's got this whole mystery. Mitch Pileggi. Thanks, William. Yeah. He's got this whole mystery, and then there's his brother. There's all these things that I've seen in the trailer, right. And then I like the idea. As much like he's on the horse, he lassos the guy. He's not going to be doing any martial arts like Chuck Norris.
Right,
but I still like the idea of the new version of the show.
Yeah. But what I would have liked is either the boss, like his boss, should have been Chuck. It would have been funny because it would have been
I also like what this show is trying to do, which is they also did it with the show with the chick that's blind and she's solving cases or whatever. Is I like that they're trying now. WB is like, okay, before we were just like the teen network, and then we got into superheroes and we became the superhero network.
Yeah.
And then we have had success with Riverdale. Now we're gonna try to mature things up. Walker is for a little bit older audience.
Right.
We want to try to capture that audience too. Like I like what they're trying to do is they're trying to be like, look, we just don't want to be the teenager audience or the teen superhero audience. We also want to get those older fans that like that classic type of television show like Walker. We want to get those. So hopefully it's successful. Hopefully it's successful.
Yeah, I like the first episode. So the first episode was enjoyable. So let's see how it goes. You know what I mean? Like they're probably gonna give them 13 episodes or at least 20 something episodes. You know what I mean? Depending on how it goes.
since we are a comic show, I do have 3 trades I want to show off on your show. So the first one Randall knows about. I got this bad boy, Section Zero, Carl Kiesel, Tom Grummett. I actually got this on eBay because I saw somebody was selling it on eBay for cheap, and I made an offer, and I believe I got it for like $15, and it was free shipping. Nice. This is an amazing comic book. If you love Fantastic Four, if you love Challenges of the Unknown, if you love pulp stuff, if you love classic B-movie sci-fi storytelling, check it out. You know, can't go wrong with Carl Kiesel and Tom Grummett. They did Superboy, which is one of the greatest comic books of all time. So let me show some interiors. You know,
nice.
This book is fantastic. Let me show the back. You know, Section Zero. There is no Section Zero. Their government, basically, it's a United Nations charter. Well, I'm going to read just a little paragraph here. There is no Section Zero. Section Zero isn't a secret section of the United Nations Charter. It does not perpetually fund a team of experts and explorers to investigate the fantastic and unknown. The idea that this team looks into things such as UFOs, monsters, lost civilizations, time travel, ancient gods, and still living dinosaurs is nothing but an urban myth. After all, none of these things exist. This is classic, awesome, great adventure comics, great storytelling. So besides that, I also picked up, so I'm a big fan of this, and I didn't have the first volume, Black Sad, the European comic book.
Yeah. I like that. I read it. I've read it before. Yeah, I like it.
Juan Diaz-Canales and Juanjo Guardado. This is Dark Horse. Dark Horse has released all the books that are in Europe in 3 hardcovers here. And they've also done a softcover omnibus that collects all 3 hardcovers. This is set in a basically, like, I think, like a 1940s or 1930s or 1950s America. But, you know, it's humanoid animal people, basically anthropomorphic characters. Right. It's one of the inspirations for the Blanco comic book, and that I'm, you know, going to be doing Kickstarter for. And it's just beautifully illustrated, well written, just a really good comic book. You know, it's the work is amazing. You know, and this was $30, and I believe this has, I think it's like, this one is 160 pages. I think it's like 4, because in Europe they do like 48, 56, 64 page hardcovers. So I think this has like 3 or 4 stories in it. But definitely get this. And then last but not least, bam! Adventure Man. This book is awesome. Matt Fraction, Terry Dodson, oversized hardcover. I believe it's also 160 pages, $25, Image Comics. And it's just, let me show an inside. This Terry Dodson is such an amazing artist. His wife Rachel, fantastic inker. This book is, let me find this one page to show off just the beauty of the amazingness of this book. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. Hold on.
If you gotta put your fingers over nipples, it's okay.
No. There's nothing like that. I just wanted to show like a really great splash page.
No, I'm just messing with you.
So, this book is amazing. It's basically a story in the present, and then flashback to, you know, Adventure Man, the classic pulp type character, and his group of heroes that helps him, kind of like a Doc Savage type. For anybody who doesn't know Doc Savage, you should check it out. So he's a Doc Savage type, and then he has his team, you know, like Doc has, you know, and they live in a, you know, that classic pulp city that's Art Deco and, you know, blimps and all that stuff, and then, you know, ray guns and things. And then her story takes place in the modern day of her son, you know, and they you know, this Adventure Man book. It's awesome. Good comic books. And those are the 3 things I got.
I got plenty because I hit up the Deland show last weekend, and you guys couldn't make it on the show last weekend. And I met Anthony for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Really cool and a really nice guy. I met the family too. I met like the wife, the kid. Yeah, really nice. So I'll show off what I actually picked up since you guys weren't on the show. So
cool.
Picked up issue 5 of the magazine, Warren magazine, Vampirellas, and it's a Frazetta cover, so that's really cool. Now I'm completely done with the single digits, and then I picked up issue 10, and Neil Adams has a story in it, and because I always go Yeah, I go, why is Neil Adams signing all these men? I'm like, was he an artist? And I looked it up. I'm like, oh no, he wasn't an artist. He was there's a story in there that he drew and wrote. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then this one, everybody always mistakes it for a damn Neil Adams cover, but it's not a Neil Adams cover. It's a Jose Gonzalez cover, and then he's had done a story in the book. That's the whole reason why. But I'm pretty much done with the single digits, the teens, because these were the teen numbers I was missing. 19 and 10 I was missing, and then all the teen numbers are done. So single digits, teens, and 20s I'm completely done. So I'm missing some 30s, and little here and there. Issue 100.
You know what I love? Real quick, not to intro. I love the crackle of that. That's what Silver Age bags, right? Is that what those are?
Silver Age bag and Mylar.
Yes, I love the crackle of the Silver Age bag. It just sounds so great.
Yeah. And then I picked up issue 111, another hard one to find. So pretty much I got all the hard ones in the back end where they were low printed. So I got 111, 113, and 112.
Nice.
And then the 112 is off at CGC, and the issue 3 is off at CGC. Both of the low print ones are off at CGC right now. So
sweet.
And then I had to pick this epic cover up. I kept making my boy Steve laugh because I kept calling it an epic cover because she's holding a gun and she's never.
Oh yeah, Rook. Yeah, I know about that character. That is an awesome cover.
Yeah,
that is sweet.
Yeah, you never see Vampirella holding a well. Present day, yeah, she's held guns before in the 90s, yeah, but I mean back then, the first time ever holding a gun, you know what I mean? So I got those. Oh, and I got these.
Jeff Schultz called Vampirella Vilf.
Yeah, and then I got these in from the Indiegogo from Holly and Jim. Yep, I got them in this week, like on Tuesday, I think. So these are reprints of I forgot which issue, but he reprint they just did covers for these reprints of older stories, pretty much.
Is that Jim Ballant art?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love Jim Ballant's work. His Catwoman, 90s Catwoman with the purple suit.
Yep. This is all Ballant and Holly's. I got Holly's art too. I'll show you guys Holly's art.
Sweet.
And then the black and white one. So, yeah.
Nice.
It's rare to see her art at all because she's done Archie books and that's it, and freaking stuff in Broadsword and that's it, and she hasn't done nothing out of it. So I've told people this reprint's gonna be worth a little bit of money because of her doing art outside of Broadsword and her Archie stuff.
Nice.
Older Archies. Yeah, this is his wife Holly's work.
I love that the classic hair.
Yeah. The classic hair, and a lot of people don't do the tattoo on her now. You see it? That's from old school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's from old school. And she's a fan because I've interviewed them, and she's actually a fan. And this is it's actually a reprint of 1974 or 72's reprint of this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so, and then this, and then the Virgin. And it's a different style, too.
Oh, I like that. Oh, pause for 1 second. Jeff Schultz asked, Jeff, you're the biggest Vampirella fan I know. What current actress would you want to play her?
I got to think about that one. Give me a second. Give me a second.
I love that very, very 80s cover.
Yeah, I wanted to get the t-shirt, but I didn't have the money at the time to get it.
Oh, there's a t-shirt? That's sweet.
Yeah, it's all black, and it has this on it. It has this art on it.
That's cool.
It looks really cool too, but I didn't have the cash to get that and all the variants. And this.
Ooh, I like that. That's the pencils. It's pencil, right? Pencil
cover?
Yeah.
Yep. I always liked seeing her pencils and stuff. I always like watching Jim's art and stuff. Now I can, whenever I go to cons, I can actually ask him to actually sketch on the cover on this one, the Virgin one. That's a good question. Really good question. I got a couple of them in mind, you know what I mean. But if you've seen the new Lock and Key show, have you seen it, Marco?
Yeah. I've seen the first episode. I haven't finished the season.
But you know who plays who plays the characters that stuck in the well, the well lady.
Oh yeah.
I could see her playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are just like, oh no, how could you like that? I really enjoyed the live action movie they did in the '90s. I think it was Roger Corman.
Right. Yeah.
And Talia Soto, I think was who played it. So, and Talia Soto is probably not the ideal choice. So
no, but the original choice was a playmate. Original choice, they had a playmate in mind, the player. But then the director or some shit didn't like the Playboy model or something or another, and then completely pissed people off and said, nope, don't want her to play. And then
I gotta look up this from the Lock and Key to vaguely.
Yeah. The Lock and Key lady, or Jonas Brothers' wife.
Oh, she's in the movie White Tiger. She'd be a great choice.
Yeah.
Wait, is it Leigh Dodge, right? The one who plays Dodge?
Yeah,
Dodge
yeah.
is the one who,
Yeah.
Layla de Oliveira.
Yeah. I think she could.
Yeah. No. She'd be a good choice.
Yeah.
The Vampirella is such a hard character to get someone to play because you have
because the outfit. The damn out is the problem is that which actress is gonna want to perform in that damn outfit, because Soto changed the outfit on purpose because Soto couldn't move in the outfit, so she changed it to what that outfit is in the '90s in the movie. That's why it looks like it the way it looks.
I think because Schultz, Selma Hayek in the '90s. Yes, I mean, I'm not saying Selma Hayek nowadays is a beautiful woman. I'm just saying, they're probably going to want someone that's more like in their late 20s, to play the character.
But Selma Hayek could play the mom, her mom.
But I think because Netflix does a lot of anime, and they do a lot of crazy anime, and they do a lot of animated adult shows. Yeah. Like the God show, the Greek God show. The animated show, that show is excellent. So I think what they should do is a Vampirella anime. Draw it in a very classic comic book style, or draw it like in a very in a Ninja Scroll style. Right. But Vampirella anime, R-rated. That way you can have Vampirella in that suit, and you can have gore and nudity, and just get a fantastic voice actress, and there you go. Vampirella 3-season TV show, animated. That'd be amazing.
Animated first, and then see how people are gonna react to the animated thing, and then go live action after that.
Randall, since you're so quiet, do you have anything to show off?
Or anything to add to the thing? Which actress you want?
Oh, actress-wise? I'd like Nina Dobrev.
Nina. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dobrev would be good, but she's a little short.
I mean,
they can CGI her height. Let's see who.
I mean, I think what's cool is, one, she's already played a vampire, so to see her play Vampirella, go back to being a vampire again.
Ooh! I got one. Underworld lady. If she was younger.
Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I look at Vampirella and I see the black hair, I like her features, when I see Kate Beckinsale, I'm straight up, I'm like, oh, that's a white lady. But when I see
so you want because a lot of them because they were Spanish artists back then, so she looks a little, I got you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Kate Beckinsale is a beautiful woman. She probably could have played a good Wonder Woman when she was younger.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I see Vampirella a little bit more exotic than Kate Beckinsale. I'd still watch it. It's Kate Beckinsale. She's a beautiful woman. But I mean, as far as Vampirella goes, I don't really see her as Vampirella, in my opinion.
I'm still at work and couldn't chime in with Sharp Trades, but I got a book I helped crowdfund in this week. Bjorn the Little Viking by Ben Bender. That sounds familiar. I think I might have seen the crowdfund page for that.
Yeah, but like, yeah. So how did that go? Anyways, you know, I honestly think if you made a video for the thing and actually like how Brian does that stuff, I think the funding would have been like.
The project.
Yeah.
No, we did the Indiegogo. We didn't take it down because it was doing bad. We took it down because you know the stuff that happened during the week of the Indiegogo basically just took the whole deflated the whole the whole attack on the White House, all that stuff. Not the White House, the Capitol. That took the whole air out of the campaign. We hit 1,000. And then, like, maybe in the first, I think it was like 3 or 4 days. But the problem was a thing of I could tell already on the day that the attack happened. I was like, this is not good. This is gonna be all the conversation on Twitter and and social media, and it's just nobody's gonna care. So And then also the thing is, my artist and co-creator David, he had a change of mind because he also saw what happened. And he was like, man, I just want to get this book out. So he's like, let's just make the goal for printing, for the letterer, and shipping, and that's it. Let's just get this book out there. And so that shrunk the goal significantly. So we're relaunching next month. It's probably going to be middle or third week of February. So
I'll
relaunching on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I'll start putting the link out there when you have it, and then I'll put the link out because I can reach more. You know what I mean? We can reach more people with my with my little the people that I know, and then like I said, you should watch what Brian does and try to mimic it. But
basically, so on the Kickstarter, like I'm gonna have the link for the sign up probably next week. But basically on that, on the Kickstarter, there's some stuff that's going to be changed. It's going to be a little different than the Indiegogo. I'm not going to go for the type of stretch goals I did. I'm going to go for more for tiers that have like the trading card and and they have like the prints. I'm not going to do a stretch goal for trading cards or prints. And then the tier is probably going to be more for stuff like hardcover and stuff like that.
I got you.
But
I'm just saying, giving you ideas.
No. It's also going to have a trailer. It's gonna, there's a bunch of stuff that's going to be different from the Indiegogo, and it's going to be like a remastered version of the campaign. So it's going to be a remaster, like a video games, or like remastered, or HD, like with film. So this will be the HD campaign.
Or just dress Randall up as the character and just have him run at the screen.
and then the goal is going to be like 3,500. So which is our goal previously was 12,000. This is 3,500. So we caught ourselves early. Based on everything that was happening in the world, and so now when we relaunch, we're going to smash that 3,500. A bunch of people behind it, are pretty confident we're going to smash the 3,500. So we got the 1,000 easily. So it's like getting to 3,500 won't be a problem, and I hope we can go beyond that. To make it hardcover, and
I think you're gonna go. I honestly think you're gonna go beyond that, and then plus you can always, you know what I mean? Like if
2.0,
you never know. You never know if people are gonna hit you up about it. You know what I mean? Like if I put it out there, maybe people are gonna hit you up about it and want interviews with you. So you never know, and talk about it. So you never know.
I had already done in the first week of the Indiegogo. I had already done 2 interviews, internet, websites, comic sites, and I did 2 YouTube interviews, and then I already had a big YouTube interview lined up. I already had another interview with a big comic site lined up. I had all these things that were lined up, and then when we corrected, I was like, okay, I had to cancel those, but the people involved with those were like, hey, just let us know when you relaunch, and we'll still do this. So that stuff is still in the we just finished an interview that will get dropped when the Kickstarter launches. So we're going to be firing on all cylinders. So we're going to kill it. We're going to kill it on that. And get this
I just wanted success for you. You know what I mean? I just want more and more. People knowing about the book and stuff like that. So what you got going on, Rando?
Yeah. So,
me and Marco's been talking for a good minute.
What do you got behind there? I see lots of comics and stuff and nerd things.
I see a lot of boxes back there.
I'm too tired to turn around. What's behind me is behind me.
What nerd stuff do you want to talk about, Randall? What comic stuff do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Stuff. I got one. You heard about Venom? You heard about Venom and stuff, right? The legacy lettering is gonna be issue 200, where Donnie and then Stegman are gonna be jumping off.
Hold on a second while I yawn again.
What? Venom has been awesome.
No, look, Donny Cates is awesome. I think everybody knows this at this point. Donny Cates could probably write a Disney comic book featuring Goofy.
Good night.
And he could just write anything. He can write a Smurfs comic book, and everybody would be like, "Oh my god, it's so badass! I can't believe he did that. Papa Smurf did what?" But he's gonna go down as like one of the top like Venom writers and creators on that series.
But he's gonna go down as a good writer in general. You know what I mean? He's gonna go down as one of the good ones.
I'm tired of the whole look. The reason they're going to legacy numbers is because Marvel wants to sell more books. So it's like, okay, whatever. The only thing now that really matters in comic books is story, quality of art. Those have always been the top two things I think people have looked for in comic books. So like I'm losing interest in the whole numbering system, the whole, hey, we're renumbering to number 1, hey, we're going back to legacy numbering, hey, we're doing this, hey, we're doing that. It's bells and whistles now at this point,
Right.
And not to mention like the comic book industry is shifting, it's changing. More people are reading graphic novels. They don't even care about the single issues anymore. I care. I still want those to do well. But the big publishers, they just,
But right now the writers are like Marco can probably chime in on this one. I noticed a lot of the writers are writing, their style is writing for the graphic novel, not writing for single issues anymore. Like where you can grab a single issue and you can jump in anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's probably more mandated by like the editors and the publishers.
Right. I hate the writing for the trade, by the way.
Yeah. It's occasionally okay. Like if like for example, if someone had an idea for a 12-issue arc, like I'll always remember when Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee, when they did Batman Hush, they had this story, planned out. They were like, it's going to be 12 issues long, and it's going to be this like really cool, and that'd be a year-long story basically. That's why it's 12 issues, because it's one comic book per month. So they had this whole thing planned out for a whole year, and that's cool. Like I'm okay with that, because you have something planned out. But like every time it's like, we have to put it in the 6-issue format. We have to put it in the 6-issue format. We have to do it like this. We have to do it like that. I think you should only do that for like big stories, or you should only do that for like when it's special, and like not every story that you're putting out for 6 issues is going to be special. Like you kind of like destroy the, like event books. When Marvel's like hammering out event book after event book after event book, now you put out an event book, like, am I excited for the event? I'm less excited for it because you guys have oversaturated. There you go. That's the one I'm looking for.
Hey, Randall, have you noticed? One question about, since you deal with DC stuff, have you noticed that a different of quality of paper that they've been using for the cover A's?
Yeah, some of the covers, it's different. They do this, I want to say, like every 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 to 5 years. Like I'll never forget when Marvel, because I love the Ultimate Comics, the Marvel Ultimate Comics, when that first came out, they were using like this really nice cardstock, like this hard cardstock, and then they switched from that to like this softer, like glossy cover,
like toilet paper cover.
I mean. I don't know what it is. Like, I think like.
But I've heard from people like the new paper from DC. They said it's a little wavy. Have you noticed waves and stuff in the covers?
I have not noticed it. I have not noticed it. Do I think that the quality is a little bit down on some of the books? I think so. But Marvel has done the same thing as well. You know, like they're a business, they're a company. They're going to go like they probably. You know, it's funny. Like I am curious from a publisher standpoint when I'm submitting, you know, dozens of books, you know, hundreds of books, thousands of
Lady
books
Fantastic.
a year. When you submit all those, like when you're submitting all those, and then you have the paper company, you know, there's got to be a salesman, right? You know, there's got to be somebody saying, you know, hey, by the way, we have a deal going on with this quality of paper, and it'll save you some money. You know, like, you know, maybe you should switch to this or check this out or check that out. You know, it's one of those, like, I don't know. I'm curious if they do that, you know, like, and that maybe that's why they change it up, you know, because there's, I mean, Marco, you've done the research. Even when like when Ivan was getting his graphic novel made, he did the research.
It's a very, very small difference between cardstock and regular cover. What is the difference is, I think this is what they take into account, is because they have to get these books, you know, shipped. I don't think, you know, it's not, you're getting these books shipped from Canada to Diamond's warehouses in America, and they're not sending it by trucks. I think they're sending it by air. So I know with cardstock, even though I've looked at them, you know, I have a packet from a printer here in Florida that Scout Comics and, you know, other people use. And they sent me all the different covers, you know, cardstock, all the different covers, trades, you know, things, all the samples of stuff they can do. And there's not really a high price difference between cardstock and regular cover, but what I think they take into account is weight, because cardstock does increase the weight, and then that'll increase your shipping costs. And so I think that's probably why they generally tend to change from cardstock to regular. You know, just to, you know, overall, if it's an ongoing book, you know, overall time you save money. You know, doing that. I loved the idea of cardstock when it started becoming a thing. Like IDW was huge for that when they dropped 30 Days a Night. You know, and it was that cardstock, that thick ass cardstock cover, and you were just like, "What is this? This is really nice." You're like, "I've never seen." And then like even the pages inside were a little nicer, and you were like, "This is a primo book for $4." You know, and it makes
$4. Yeah. Now it costs you $8 for a damn cardstock cover. So, almost $8.
So it was like, you know, the IDW is basically saying this is why you're paying $4. Right. You know, but you know, it only works so much. Like you'll see nowadays, like, and Randall knows this. Like when you get the DC books in, like the $5 books, the first issues will have like a cardstock cover. You know, it'll have maybe a few more pages, and it's like this is what you're getting for $5. But you know, it's just for that one issue, just so they can make so much money on the first issue. You know, and they know sales are going to go down. Good evening. Have a good night. And so they know those sales are going to go down. I don't know. I could be wrong about all this. It's just guesses. And so then the next issues, you know, they're kind of like, you know, the quality is not the same, and then you're spending $4 because they want to get all your money in that first one. But then there's also a thing, if you look at it, me and Randall noticed this, if you look at even the inside now of the issue, you're kind of like, is this paper cheaper? You know what I mean? Did they get cheaper? You know, is the pound stock cheaper now? You know, they tried to like, what can we go where it still looks good, but it doesn't look like, you know, you're seeing when you hit up to light, like you can, you can see through the whole thing and there's nothing on the other, you know?
Now you got me curious. Now I'm gonna pull. Well, let's see if these guys do it.
I remember even when the covers were changed, it was just like Randall would be like, "Does this cover feel weird to you?"
Well, and Dynamite doesn't. The cover, you can tell Dynamite's covers are different from DC, and because it's thicker. This cover's a lot thicker but the paper inside of it, even the papers inside's thicker than their paper. If you get a DC or if you get a Marvel one, it's completely different.
Which is like weird. Also, Jeff, to be fair, DC pays their writers and artists more money than Dynamite does.
No, I know. But I'm just saying it's different. You know what I mean? It's different from everything too. Oh,
so Dynamite's like, look at this nice quality comic book. Looks like, and then oh, by the way, here you go, writer. Here's $20. Thanks for writing.
Right. I got you. Yeah. I got you. But I'm just saying, it's like, see, like event books. their paper is different. Like this paper is different from what a normal cover is.
Oh yeah, what's the price on that one?
The price on that one is $4.
Oh,
almost
okay.
$5. Yeah. So, yeah. So, paper wise is different. Oh, hell. Here we go. Here's a normal one. Here's Iron Fist. This is ongoing from Larry Hama's writing the story.
Oh yeah. I need to check that one out.
It's good. I read it. It's actually good. Yeah. Paper wise, it's a little better. Because previously this paper was this cover paper wasn't as because
everything's $4 now, so it better be.
Yeah, $3.99. Yeah, $4. Yeah. So
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the big thing is that like I'm so scared of where comics are right now. Like not because of the pandemic, because comics overcame that. Like everyone thought the pandemic was going to be the death knell of comics, and it was not.
Nope.
I knew it wasn't going to be, but I'm kind of scared of where comics is going to go because I don't really want them to do five. Nice. Awesome. I don't really want them to do five. If books start becoming $5, I think that's the end of the single issue.
Well,
like $5 is way unless the minimum wage in the country goes up, and that's the only way $5 is gonna because $5 an issue. It's like come on.
Yeah. No, I mean, the readership, like I said, it's already shifted to graphic.
Then I would rather put my money towards older books like this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. That is happening. When they had that report, I showed it to Randall. They had that report. I think it was like 2019 or early 2020, where it was about how the boom of the back issues.
Right.
The big publishers. I don't know. I mean, DC's already made the big change, right? They're already in the process of like they fired a lot of people. They're bringing in new talent. They're bringing in new writers and new artists. And the reason they're bringing all these people in is because they're cheaper. They save money. They're not having to do these exclusive contracts anymore. They're not basically paying these big writers and artists.
Not yet.
No. I think it's done. Okay. Like the way things are going now. I think it's done, and I think Marvel is probably going to be, in probably the next few years, they're going to follow. They're going to follow, and they're going to do what DC did, and they're going to, they're going to eliminate these exclusive contracts. They're going to do all kinds of stuff, man, and it's all to protect the money. It's to survive. These businesses need to survive. Their sales continue to plummet and plummet and plummet and plummet. Comic book stores are going out of business and closing up and closing up and closing up. The only people that would open up a new comic book store are people who love comic books, but at the same time, a lot of these people they don't have any experience in business. They don't know what it's like. So when they go and they do it, they're lucky if they're in business for the first couple of years. Unless of course people are smart enough and they know that don't get a brick and mortar store. Many businesses now, especially with the economy the way it is. Especially because of the pandemic, a lot of these businesses, they're doing everything online now. They're going to follow the business suit of Amazon. You're just going to do online. No need to pay thousands of dollars of rent for a brick and mortar store for little amounts of people to come into the store and not even spend a lot of money. So the future of comic books, Kickstarter. Even like Indiegogo, but I think Kickstarter is like right now like the top. Like Kickstarter is like the Netflix.
One thing I like better I like Indiegogo a little better than I like Kickstarter is Indiegogo takes the money out right away. Kickstarter waits until the damn thing ends and then takes your money and goes.
Kickstarter's program it's almost like social media, right? Like Facebook. Facebook's the largest social media. And has been for a while. They've been the king of the hill. That's how Kickstarter is. Kickstarter is the king of the hill. They're very good with marketing. They already have an established group of people that follow them. Look at Boom Studios. Boom Studios doing the Keanu Reeves comic book, and then they're also doing the Power Rangers comic. Boom is smart. They know. As a small publisher, they know that the future is Kickstarter. You follow where
they got a couple of Kickstarters. Even Dynamite guy had a couple of Indiegogos out. Even Kickstarters too. Is like all the little guys are following, but eventually DC and Marvel are gonna end up. Oh hey, maybe we should be jumping into this game. Even
smart.
Even
they would be smart to do that. One of the other problems that
Tim
Marvel
Seeley,
one of the
Tim
problems
Seeley
that Marvel
even launched one. So
DC are going through right now are you have social media, you have tools, you have ways of reaching your audience and asking your audience what kind of stories do you want to see, what characters do you like. They could be utilizing all of that information, and they could be taking that and they could be creating new stories, new comics, stuff that gets people excited, and they will go out and they will actually pay $5-10 for. You know,
I like seeing these creators. Like Scott Snyder had a successful Kickstarter. You know, Tim Seeley, like you said, for
hack and slash.
Fucking love hack slash. The omnibus.
I got it. I actually got that Kickstarter, so I'm excited. I'm waiting for it.
So a lot of these guys are doing great Kickstarters. You know, small guys, big guys. You know, mid-level guys. I think Kickstarter's created a new avenue, but the thing is, it's not the single issue. And, you know, and I know, you know, I guess now I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, I guess one day the single issue won't exist anymore. But I don't want it to be like that because, I mean, technically it doesn't really have to be like that.
I mean, we'll be a little happier because then we won't have to use as much room up, man, because of the damn boxes, too. Just being funny.
But
you know,
that's
being fun.
But also, Jeff, keep in mind, too, that the only reason we have so many comics is because you have the big publishers that are pumping them out like cash. You know, like how many books is Marvel putting in? Marvel has never, in the entire time that they've been in business, has put out this many single issues. You know, even when they were at the top in the 90s, they weren't even putting out this many copies. They didn't have to because they were selling copies by millions. Of, you know, like, or, you know, hundreds of thousands of copies. Now you have people, you know, like you have like, what is it, 100,000 copies of one book is considered good now, you know? And so you have like, you know, Marvel's probably pumping out 80 titles and they're hoping like, hey, we sell like 20, 30, 40,000 copies of each of these. If you even notice too, like Marvel, like look at a perfect example, Immortal Hulk, right? Immortal Hulk, how many times does that book sell out that goes into a second printing, then that sells out, goes into a third printing, then that sells out, goes into a fourth printing, fifth printing, sixth printing.
I'm holding up my fingers. It's probably in 10th printing by now.
The whole reason that they make a new printing is because they sold out of the previous printing.
Yeah, so they don't call the 10th printing 10th printing. They call it a director's print.
I don't care.
I know, I'm messing.
It's all ridiculous. But no, it's like you know, they know that like, oh, this is going to sell out. You know, you like. It's like, you know, instead of printing more copies of a
one thing Marvel has that DC doesn't have, one thing that Warner Brothers and DC doesn't have is they have the Marvel has Disney money. You know what I mean? They're Disney not even. I don't think. But my biggest thing is I don't think that the people that are running it are not even looking at them right now. You know, they don't even care right now. If they cared, they would have went down there and went, "Hey, I'm cleaning the house and I'm changing stuff up."
It's a numbers game, right? It's a numbers game. So remember, and they still kind of do it now, but like, you know how they would put out 2 comic books in 1 month instead of 1? You know, so like, I remember when they were putting out 3 or 4 copies of Spider-Man a month. And because they were pumping out so many copies of Spider-Man, the sales were plummeting. Not plummeting. The quality was dropping. People were complaining like, "Oh, these Spider-Man books are boring," or "I don't like them." It's because they were rushing it. They're rushing it. And why are they rushing it? They're putting out more copies. Why are they putting out more copies? Because they're trying to raise the sales numbers. You know,
inflate their numbers to make it look like they're selling a lot of stuff when they're not really. They're just really printing a shit ton. They're printing a shit ton and then selling a lot.
If I were a manager and I, you know, finagled the numbers to make it look like, oh, we're doing more, we're making more, we're doing better. That's just to cover my ass so that my boss above me, he's like, okay, what have you done to make this company more money? What have you done? oh well, we've increased productivity, we've increased more copies, we've sold more copies. Look at our numbers from last year compared to this year. We've made a much bigger profit this year than we did last year, and that's because you sold 2 to 3 times more books than you normally did. You know, so that's why Marvel keeps releasing more and more issues. You know, they're releasing more and more and more and more and more, and it's getting to the point where it's like,
I think DC's trying to go for quality now. It looks like that's what it looks like.
They're trying to do. They're following what Boom is doing. They're following what Boom is doing, because Boom specifically said it's about quality, not quantity.
Right.
That's why Boom only makes sure to different title of the same character. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and it's smart what DC is doing. It really is. For business wise. For business wise, it's smart.
The one thing I don't like about the future state stuff, it's the it's not much story in the book. It's like maybe not even the whole book. It's the whole story. I don't think, if I've read it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of those stories are doing like a 2-issue story arc. So you know, if you pick up one comic book, you're only reading the first half of the story. The second issue comes out.
But what I hear other guys that are collecting are saying is like, dude, I'm paying because I don't want to pay for the A cover, because the A cover looks not like what it looks like, but the paper quality, like they're worried about paper quality, like the ink's gonna rub off on their hands, so they're grabbing the cardstock instead. You know, it's like
sure,
but you're not getting the $8. You're not getting the story in there. The $8. You're not getting the story that you know, as much story as you want in the book. That's the issue that they have. You know, some of the people that read it.
Here's the thing: you're talking about the $8 books, right? So you're talking about like the next Batman. That's an example.
Right. Right.
You have probably 3 different writers and 3 different artists.
Right.
Working on 3 different stories.
Right.
On an $8 book, so you're not getting 1 story, you're getting 3 stories.
But I understand that too, man. But I'm just saying, like, see, this is
they're backup stories, but I mean, it's, how do you put it? It's
since Rando's a DC defender, that's why I brought this up in the first
place. Randall's like, let me get my shield.
Ding,
ding.
I mean. No, it's ridiculous how much they're charging. I agree.
Okay.
I would have just preferred the Batman story in a $4 comic, than the backup stories. You know, but keep in mind, you know, Marvel does the same thing too. The top 2 do these things, and you know that they're doing it for money reasons.
But I think also DC is trying to, because remember they had those great magazines, may they rest in peace, that came out in Walmart, and I don't know why they canceled doing that, because that was just one of the most fantastic
things they did. The comic book stores were coming after them, saying, "Hey, we want those too."
The comic book stores weren't, you know. I think it was a test. They wanted to test to see like if it would grow the market.
But they had the great magazines, so they canceled that, and I don't think they canceled it for any bad reason, like it wasn't working out. I think they just canceled it when the whole axe came down from AT&T, and they had to restructure everything. But now you see them doing with like the next Batman in the Future State. They're testing out that whole thing. They're like, and in the books that come out after Future State, if you've seen the March solicitations, you know, they're basically doing the whole, like, you know, some of those books are going to have backup stories and they're going to cost a little more. You know, they're basically taking the anthology format and they're doing it in the single issues, you know, with some of the books.
But that's why people are. That's why people are mad about. Some people are mad about is you're paying $8 and it's one third of a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, basically, like, you know, I can understand, because they're like, I only wanted to read this Batman book. I didn't want to read the other one.
Right.
You know.
But I know Rando's going to be defending it a little bit, but
well, no, it's more like just, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that they're not wrong in complaining, you know, but what I'm trying to say is that, you know, think about what it is that you're buying. Think about what you're buying. Think about what it is that you're actually complaining about, you know, and I think a lot of times people don't want to understand. They don't want to understand things. They just want what they want. And when they don't get what they want, they complain. That's just normal human behavior. That's all it is. And I'm more than happy to give my feedback and explain why I think they're doing what they're doing. And if you don't like it, it's simple. Then you just don't buy it.
Well, the way he explains is he'll explain it, but he won't let you get your 2 cents in until he's done explaining it.
What I think DC should do, in my opinion, if they're so confident, and I like the stuff that's coming out in Future State. I mean,
Marco, but you're a writer yourself. You've actually set in scripts and stuff for them too. So
I like this. I like the stuff that they're doing in the books that are coming out after Future State. I'm looking forward to those the most.
Right.
But what DC should do for the stores, in my opinion, is if you're going to put out where the next Batman is an anthology book, where the main story is the next Batman, and these 2 backup stories are comic books you may or may not care about, but hand over $6 to $8. What they should do is for retailers be like, hey, those books are 60% off. We'll take the brunt. We'll make the less money because we're so confident that these books are going to do really good. We know we're going to do more money, so we're going to give it to you for 60% off instead of 50 or 40, depending on Well, now it's like 50 because So with basically now you have one distributor, and I don't think anybody really has to worry about getting the 50% off. Like before with Diamond, you had to have a certain number of books you were ordering to get 50% off. But what they should do is then be like, hey, we're going to give you an extra 10% off. That's how confident we are in these anthology single issues. So ride the wave with us from January, February, March, and beyond. And that way, if you're giving it to the retailers at 60% off, then a lot more retailers can turn around to their customers and say, hey, if you get this book on your subscription list, if a store that does 15-20% discounts, they'll be like, I'll give you an extra 5 or 10% if you get this book, because I can afford to do that because DC is giving me 10% extra, and then that works best for everybody. As a consumer, you're getting the books cheaper, so you don't feel like you're spending so much. As a retailer, you're getting the books cheaper. If DC is going to make these type of moves, and Randall knows, I'm a DC fan also.
I mean, I am too. I'm a DC. I'm all 3 of us are comic book fans in general, anyways. You know what I mean? So
but
we like everything. Yeah.
But if DC is going to do this type of stuff, they should take more of the risk on the financials.
No, I agree with Vinny here. Like, I agree with some of what Vinny's saying. But I will say this, though. I know they're referred to as backup stories. I don't want to refer to them as backup stories. When I think of a backup story, I think it's like 3 pages or 4 pages. Right. These are more than that, Right. So these aren't backup stories. These are just extra stories included into the book.
I will say this: bring up what Splash Page Comics said, because I want to comment on this. Yeah. So he said, the art of telling a whole story in one issue is rare now and is a disappearing thing. Love the old Silver Age and Bronze Age book, and I agree with this. I'm going to talk about this, and I'm also going to use it as a plug. So Randall will hear me. I always bitch all the time about comic books need to go back to the single issue story. Like classic television, which if you watch old Buffy, it tells you one story in one episode, another story in one episode. But what it does is it creates these secondary stories, these B stories that lead to the big villain encounter of the season. It leads to what the big story arc is about. But you get each episode of Buffy, you get a single story. You don't have to watch 10 episodes of Buffy to know what's going on. You can just get in on one episode and be like, oh, I get what this show's about. It's a girl in high school. She fights vampires with her friends, and other monsters. Comic books, and I'm not saying every comic book needs to do that, but the specific books that Marvel and DC put out need to do those type of stories again. Single issue stories where you get a story in one and you're like, sweet, I got my money's worth. Yeah. And then, you can have elements that continue further on. And I'm going to plug this because in Blanco, we're going to be doing that. Our stuff is 64-page square-bound soft covers, and they're all done in one stories with elements that will show up in the next volume and the next volume after that. But what you're getting is basically a 64-page, I guess you could say a mini graphic novel. It's like a comic book and a graphic novel had a child. 64 pages, done in one stories with elements that will get picked up in future volumes. But you don't have to, like, if you come in on volume 3, you don't have to be like, well, I never read volume 1 and 2. Will I be able to read volume 3? Yes, because it's a done in one story. And that's what I want to do with a lot of the comics I plan on kickstarting, because I have another one that I'm actually going to be talking with an artist about this week.
Okay.
We'll be going over with him with the title and the designs and all that. And I'm paying him to do the preview pages. That'll be a Kickstarter I'll probably do like in the summer.
Okay.
But that's the thing. So that's the thing I'm going to do, because I'm like, I like that idea of the done in one story. But I'd rather do it where it's like you get a fat done in one story. You get a 64-page, square bound comic book, kind of like the DC Elseworlds, which were 48 pages.
Right.
But this is 64 pages. It's soft cover, square bound, and and you get so much story in that 64 pages. You're not sitting there being like, man, 10 pages have passed and ain't nobody doing nothing but talking.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So, stuff is happening. Things are moving. Characters are moving. Events are happening. It's exciting. You open up with a bang. You end with a cliffhanger, You end with little cliffhangers throughout the book, to want to keep reading it.
That's what this did.
Yeah. I read some of the preview pages, and I'm like, Larry Hama knows what he does. Larry Hama, I'm glad they gave Larry Hama that book, because I'm like, Larry Hama should get more work as a writer.
Yeah.
He's also an artist, which people forget. Larry Hama, can draw, and he drew.
My first comic was a Larry Hama book. It was the Venom and Carnage Unleashed. That was my first, that was my first comic ever. So that was a Larry Hama book.
And if I'm not mistaken, Larry Hama also drew the Snake Eyes silent issue. So he knows what artists want. You know what I mean, when they're drawing stuff.
And plus, he's Asian. He's gonna want to do everything.
So he knows how to tell a good story. He comes from that 70s era, the bullpen era of Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, but that's what I plan to do with my creator-owned stuff, at least the Kickstarter stuff. Creator-owned stuff when it comes to other publishers, that all depends on what those publishers want out of a book. Yeah, Larry Hama drew that. I'm like 95% sure. I could be wrong. I'm 95% sure he drew the Snake Eyes silent issue.
Yeah, I think he did.
I could be wrong, but I remember his. Well, actually, hold on. I'm gonna look it up. We'll talk about the Iron Fist, because he asked about the Iron Fist.
Yeah,
and
I liked it. I enjoyed it. They bring a little bit of a little Asian Buddhism in it, so I'm really enjoying it, because they're bringing a lot of Asian elements in it now, because since Hama's writing it, because that's really good. I think it's really interesting, because it's talking about you guys all know about the dragon that Danny got his Iron Fist from in the first place.
Yeah,
so they're talking about the dragon. They're talking about and it's ongoing from what was it, Luke Cage and Power Man and Iron Fist previous. Like there's a little
continuation.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's not completely, but it's like bits and pieces. Yeah, make references.
Okay, sorry. Pause for a second. I just looked it up. Yes, Larry Hama drew the G.I. Joe silent issue.
I'm not surprised.
Because he's a fantastic artist. He has a classic style. Like, have you ever seen his sketches at Hans?
He's done almost a lot of G.I. Joe, man. This is the first time I've seen him back at Marvel in a long time, though.
Oh, I'm happy. He did, I think, at DC before everything that happened. Like, this was like a few years ago when Christopher Priest was writing Deathstroke. Larry Hama, I believe, did the breakdowns.
Oh, okay.
I know for a certain number of issues he worked with Christopher Priest on that book, and he did the breakdowns. I think the breakdowns, and then another artist came in and did the finishes, inks, and all that.
Yeah. So if MegaCon does happen, or whatever it is, or whatever con it is that they have him scheduled for, a friend that's creating a con, he goes, oh yeah, so if he comes down, I'm already in the running for interviewing him. So that's gonna be cool.
Vinny,
awesome.
I did Luchaverse, which was like science fiction, fantasy, horror, starring famous luchadors. If you just type in Luchaverse, you'll see what those comic books are all about. You know, I did Puerto Rico Strong. I was the guy.
And award-winning Puerto Rico Strong. You gotta, you never say that.
I won an Eisner Award for Puerto Rico Strong.
So
I co-created it. I was an editor.
Right. So all he has to do is, when he goes to San Diego, all he has to do is bring the award, and he can walk into San Diego pretty much.
I get into San Diego for free.
His name is on the list.
But the type of stories I tell, Blanco is basically a anthropomorphic comic like Black Sad, but it's post-apocalyptic sword and sorcery. The other book that I want to kickstart, that one's a science fiction superhero. It's like Japanese superhero. It's like Power Rangers, Ultraman, Guyver.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, that one's going to be very violent, over the top, crazy. And that one's going to be in the 64-page mold as well.
You should get yourself drawn in it. We should get all ourselves drawn in it.
That's what I should do for stretch goals. Yeah. Not stretch goals. Tiers. But yeah, so that's the type of stuff. I like to do the, classic 70s, 80s, 90s, superhero comics. But with telling a good story. Everybody wants a good story. I mean. The writers I like the best are the 70s and 80s writers, up to the the early 90s. I mean, I like writers nowadays too that do modern comics. Tom Taylor, his Suicide Squad 11 issue was fantastic. I had Randall order me the trade the other day, the hardcover collection.
I can't wait for his Batman book, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He is doing a Batman book. I forgot about that. Yeah, he is.
Andy Kubert. Woo!
Yeah.
And Tom Taylor's artist, I think it's Guininos. That was on Suicide Squad. They're doing Nightwing together for the post Future State. They're going to be doing Nightwing, which looks fantastic. Those are the artists who did Suicide Squad. So there's a lot of great artists. I think what's interesting is you're seeing a lot of artists coming into comics that have that kind of classic, 70s, 80s style, but a little like a newer version of it. You know what I mean? So where they have these like characters that aren't so over the top anatomy wise, like the 90s. Even though I love the 90s comics, but so there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. But yeah,
you mean they all look like Arnold's on extreme steroids?
But that's some of the stuff. Like the comics, I've told myself if I'm gonna do creator-owned books, because. Not to harp on people that do like, certain type of comics. Like there's that whole mentality that people have of like comic books that are movie pitches, They're like, oh, this is basically this person's movie pitch or TV show pitch in comic book form. And I always think that's a fallacy. But, the type of comics I told myself, if I'm going to do creator-owned stuff and Kickstart and, I just want to do the type of comics that I loved growing up. And that I feel there should be more of. We'll see how that goes. But something that most people don't know is that your LCS has free tickets given to them. They deal with Diamond for San Diego Comic. All I gotta do is ask for the tickets. That's awesome.
So Randall,
Marco, you already know that.
Did I? Oh yeah, that's right. Randall's able to get them. Yeah. But me and Randall don't have to worry about that because I get to San Diego for free every year and WonderCon for free. And I get a guest in for free.
Yeah. But all you gotta do is put the chain on and put the word on the chain and go walk it in.
Marco Cicchito, ICT Vinny. That's a good artist. Yeah. There's a lot of great guys in comic books that I'm seeing now, and there's still some artists that I like to call the young adult kids artists, and I have no problem with that. They're doing young adult kids books. But they have
Scotty Young.
No, I mean I like I don't think Scotty Young's in that category, even though he does have that funky cartoon style. But I really liked Scotty Young when he was drawing New X-Men when it was the teenagers in the book, and Yost and Kyle were writing it. It was a really cool teen X-Men.
I liked his Venom run, and I liked his Human Torch.
Oh he did Torch.
This is for Marco, really. Does Marco know anything?
I don't know. I haven't gotten any emails. I think everyone's playing it based on the conventions. Yeah. I think everyone's playing conventions. I've heard on Twitter. I've read people talking on Twitter that conventions are being pushed back. But I think what conventions are trying to do is they're like definitely WonderCon is not happening. But what I've seen is
MegaCon pushed it back. MegaCon isn't happening until August.
Yeah, because I think what there is they're hoping that we'll get to herd immunity by summer, so that way then people will want to go to conventions, you know. But honestly, I mean, for me, I think I would love to go to a convention this year, but unless I got the vaccine and I got my 2 shots, and unless unless we hit herd immunity, even if I have my shots,
no,
I don't think I would go.
Okay, the thing that pissed me off about the con that I went to last weekend, there were way more people than the last one we went to. Last one we went to, it didn't feel like people were on top of each other. This one, since it was $5 to get in, I'm guessing. It was like. Don't forget, and it's the first of the year, so people haven't been to stuff in a while, so they say, hey, it's an event. Freaking, dude, I was digging in a box. That's what it felt like. Like people.
I could see Jeff being like, with his mask on, being like, it's too close.
Yeah. Not even.
Jeff's got like random people he's got like random people like rubbing his shoulders while he's going through the comics, and he's like, hey.
But it explains why a lot of the guys don't wear deodorant during cons. You know what I mean? It explains a lot why they don't wear deodorant. Is to, you know what I mean? It's to keep
away. Yeah, doesn't work. Doesn't work. It just makes people unpleasant.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know if like. Maybe in the back half of the year, like if we hit herd immunity by summer or end of summer, then I could see some late cons like October, November happening.
Well, supposedly MegaCon's supposed to be happening in August, so supposedly.
I don't know if it depends.
Hey, I paid for it this year, and I'm not asking for a refund again this year, because last time I did that, I asked for a refund. Oh, then they go, oh yeah, it's good for next year. I'm like, you son of a bitch! The day I asked for a refund, the next day you say.
how much are the 21 days between both shots? About 2 or 3 weeks after your last shot, before your body have enough to protect you. After that, you still need to stay protected. See, so. Yeah, I don't want.
One of the problems with COVID right now too is that there's who knows how many
new strands,
streams. Not streams. Is it streams?
Strands.
How many different strains there are of it out there? You know. So what was it? One of my cousins, I think, is a nurse, and they said that there's been people who. Even getting the shots, like they've been getting sick and they've died from it. Like not a lot, but still, like, you know, a decent number of people. That it's like now.
Like I joke around all the time. I'm going. If you watched I Am Legend, this is how shit starts. This is how zombies started.
Sure. I mean,
no. But there's I read.
I mean, it's still better than nothing. It's still better.
Joking around. But I've read something where they're mixing. They say that if they're mixing they say, oh, if we mix the vaccines, it'll be able to. Some of the strands would be, well, you know, that's a rumor that I heard.
I also read is that this might become a thing with like the flu, where you have to get the vaccine every year. You know. Except this is going to be one of those, like, if you don't get it every year, you might die.
Right.
So unlike the flu, which, like, unless you're old, then the flu will be able to kill you. So, you know, I'm you know, I don't know, because, like, I don't think I'd go to MegaCon this year, because they're charging the same prices, aren't they? They're ridiculous. What is it, like $80 or something now for a weekend? 100 or 120?
No, 100 and well, if you got it before the year started, it was a lot cheaper, like 80 something bucks. It was for all 4 days or something, $80 something for all 4 days. But you don't even, but you don't even need. But that was when before January 15th, the 15th, and then the prices went back up.
So what is it now, like 120 for 4 days?
I think so. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think so.
So what is it, like one day is probably like $35.
Yeah, something like that. And I got it like before the 15th date, before the 15th, where it's jumped up. So I'm like, let me go get it beforehand. So Yeah.
I mean, I want to go, but like,
yeah.
I don't think I want to pay $35. I don't think Randall either wants to pay $35
Well,
just to go for a day.
there's little cons coming up too. There's one where Jake the Snake's gonna be there.
What did
and
you
it's
guys?
A toy con.
What did you? Because here's the thing, like, look, man, I like MegaCon, but it's like, dude, I rather if it's between.
I like the little. I honestly, my opinion, I like the little cons better. Because the dealer, there's more dealers at the little ones.
That's the thing. Like, unless there's some awesome guests that I haven't met yet in person or seen in person, then like, why do I want to pay $35-$40 for a Saturday ticket? You know what I mean? When I can just go to the comic book store and look for deals on comics in the back issue bin. You know, they should make these cons. Sorry, man, but if MegaCon is coming back, it shouldn't be costing $85 before January 1st for 4 days. It should have been like, hey, $60 for 4 days. You know what I mean? Because like, hey, man, you guys didn't. It's been a pandemic. What are you trying to do? You know what I mean? Like when you guys went to Spooky Empire.
Right.
What did it cost you guys?
Like,
what did you guys pay for the day?
$10. It was because it was a pop-up event. But if it was the normal event, it would have been for like $45 for a Saturday.
But like it was $10 for a pop-up. Like that's awesome. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, hey, look, we got these people, and you guys went, and Randall was like, Sam Raimi. You know what I mean? So it's just like $10 to get in.
No. That one wasn't. That event wasn't 10. That was the $45. That was 2019. That was
convention center.
Oh yeah, that was 19. I forget. Yeah.
Yeah, that was 45. But there was another.
Usually the hotel, right?
Yeah. The pop-up ones were freaking. It should have been in a convention center. It shouldn't have been in that hotel because the way they had it set up, where it was still a little bit of people, but it still felt like a lot of people there because it wasn't as many people at the pop-up. But
when they try to fit in too many vendors and too many guests, you have less space. When you have less space, it's easy for a group of people to make it look like, oh, it's packed.
But here's the great thing about that is that like they still had cool guests there, they still had vendors, and you just had to pay $10. So even if you went and you were like, I don't want to pay this much for a signature, and then you went to the vendors and the vendors didn't have anything you wanted, at least you're like, I only spent $10. You know what I mean?
Or like last weekend's event was only $5. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was a $5 event.
So
and there were more people at that event. Yeah.
Many of these vendors, or not vendors, like many of these people who have their own comic book conventions, you would think it'd be smart for them to invest their money and either purchase land and have a building built to be similar to like a convention center, and then like you could, if you own your own building, you can set good prices for your conventions and when you're for your cons. And then when you're sitting
it's not cheap in Florida, man.
It depends. It depends on where you.
I'm messing with you, man. But honestly, like, because I knew the guy that ran the land event, and he's running another Ocala event.
Yeah, hear me out. If you buy a whole bunch of land, right, and you have a building made, and then you have parking spaces made, think about it. You charge the people for parking, and then you charge them to come into the convention.
Right, but how much are you going to charge that parking? That's the problem. It depends because MegaCon even charges.
The land is,
right.
MegaCon
even charges you at the charges for parking, and then let's just say you didn't buy the ticket that day. They charge you for that, and then they charge you at the door for the ticket, and then don't forget the ticket's about $35, $50, you know what I mean? $35, $45, $80,
if you own the building, right? If you own the building, I mean, obviously you're going to have to like make monthly payments on the building, unless you're wealthy enough to the point where you can just pay it all off. But if you own the building and you own the lot, you're making money off of parking. You're making money off of the vendors that pay to set up inside the building. You're making money charging people the tickets. So it's like it's just all this flow. The question is, how often will you throw a convention at your, and not to mention like when the convention ends, then you can do what all the other buildings are doing. You can do what the other convention center is doing. Hey, do you have an event that you need to host? Guess what? We'll give you better prices than the competing convention centers. Come over here and host it here and rent it out and collect that money. Can you imagine the money that the people? It's like what do you call it? It's like all those people that own the commercial lots. The people who pay the rent. They lease out the space. They just the biggest expenses that they have to pay for are electricity. Well, yeah, electricity. They have to pay for electricity. They have to pay for property taxes. They have to pay for maintenance on the building if the building needs to be worked on or fixed. But I mean, imagine you have a building and you constantly rent it out. You're collecting money.
ICT Vinny brought up this good point about the people who die because they have
this one.
That one. So, that's a good thing to know. And I mean, look, I said that back in Dawn of the Dead, and if you ever watch Return of the Living Dead, it's the same thing. Like, if zombies were ever to happen, and if they were running zombies, I would fortify myself in like the most fortified house, and I would never leave. I'd have to have like food stockpiled for a year because I ain't fucking dealing with running zombies. I'm sorry. I'm not doing that shit, man.
But one person had the most brilliant idea. They were like, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of treadmills and just put all the treadmills around the house. So when the zombies try to get in, like they're constantly on the treadmill, just like walking, like trying to like
they're on the treadmills trying to walk, and then you just peer out through your window. And you go douche, 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 and just take them all out. But yeah, man, I look forward to going back to conventions in 2022. Like, I think that'll be the year that me and Randall will go, because we were planning to go last year to San Diego Comic-Con. Randall was saving up the money. We were planning to go San Diego Comic-Con for 2020, but it'll just have to be now for 2022. But I look forward to going back to cons in 2022.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be this year for me, unfortunately. But I look forward to that. I look forward to when life goes back to normal. When
semi-normalcy. Don't it's not normal, semi-normalcy, because we still have this thing out there.
The great thing about conventions is cosplay, right? I'm telling you right now, you know what I'll probably do just for fun? It'll be for fun and for safety. I'm just going to buy a hazmat suit. I'm going to have a hazmat suit. I'm going to be walking through the convention. And I'm going to be like, hey, what's up, guys? And he's like, what are you supposed to be? Take a guess.
2020. That's what I'm supposed to be. 2020.
No, if you get the hazmat suit, they get a hazmat suit, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're cosplaying as an agent of AIM. That's awesome. You're an AIM agent." And Randall's like, "No, I'm cosplaying as. Get the hell away from me."
I'm Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan. I could just do Marty McFly from like Back to the Future. Get a radiation suit,
What you got going on, Marco? Because I'm gonna call it, man. I'm a little tired and a little hungry too. On top of that.
yeah. I was like, I gotta get going. I'm getting tired.
So what you got going on?
So, like I said before, relaunching the project on Kickstarter next month. It's gonna be the second or third week of February. Should be dropping the sign-up link next week. Blanco, anthropomorphic post-apocalyptic sword and sorcery comic. 64 pages, soft cover, done in one story. Let's see. Besides that, working on the other Kickstarter project I want to drop in the summer. I got a couple other things coming up, with publishers. I don't know when though. When I can announce that, as always, I'll be able to say that. And then I got some other things I'm working on outside of comics, so we'll see how that stuff goes. Can't mention that either. Right. I think that's about it. You can find me on Twitter, Atomic ATOMIC Rex REXENENT. I'm on Twitter. You can find me under Marco Lopez on Facebook. If a bunch of other Marco Lopez's come up, and I haven't killed them yet, then search me on Facebook as Travis Dearly, and I'll pop up. And then if you're on Facebook, search for 90s Comics Strike Back. It is a group that I run, 1,600 members strong, where we talk about 90s comic books. All varieties of 90s comic books. So, join us and, have some fun talking 90s comics. And I think that's about it. Yeah. Go to Randall.
Yeah, now let's jump to Randall. What you got going on, Randall?
Same old. Just trying to survive.
Don't die.
Oh no, I know. It's been crazy. It sucks working 2 jobs.
I know the feeling. I used to do that, so don't forget. Yeah. I used to do that. So
it sucks working 2 jobs, and it sucks. Technically 3 jobs if you count the comic book business.
Right.
So it just it sucks. But hopefully this year, it's gonna be smart. Got to save the money. That way I can quit one of the jobs, and then I can just focus more on the comic book business and build that up. Mm-hmm. I've got tons of comic books I need to make time to go through, so I can start.
Yeah, but we were talking about on. But do you still want to do this auction thing? You want to test out or whatever?
Yeah,
eventually.
I would love to do that, but I need time to go through the books and find out what it is I'm going
to. Or just grab a box and go, hey, here, and get rid of it.
Easier said than done.
I'm just messing with you, but yeah, if you want to sort stuff out and stuff, yeah, that's cool. I'm just I was just asking. I was curious.
Oh yeah. One thing I'm really hoping for is Jeff, that we can make the time so I can finally get those sweet Superman 120.
Yeah, every time every time I want to come to you, man, every time something comes up, every time it's not no lie. Every time I want to go, I gotta go see Randall. I'm like, damn it, I gotta go do this. Oh, what the hell?
Yeah. I know, it's just my bad luck.
Yeah.
So,
but it's not. It's sitting here. It's sitting there. I know to go. Every time I pick it up, I'm like, damn it, man. What the hell? Why is every time I want to go see Randall?
Maybe you could just mail it to me. You can just mail it to me, and
no, I'll get it to you. Don't worry, I'll get it to you.
Okay.
I'll for sure. I'll get it to you. It's just not next weekend, because next weekend I have to work that Saturday, so it's gonna be or maybe Sunday. Before 9 or something like that. So,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, man. But guys, I'm gonna let people know. All I got going on next week is Kenthony's Comic Wednesdays and Extreme Nerd Table. I may have Marco on again. I may have Randall on again, or I may have Anthony. I may have somebody else. You never know. But and then the Nerdy Collector Show is gonna be on next weekend too. Yeah, I'm not sure who we're gonna have on, but I know Splash Page is gonna be on there. I know Robert's gonna be on, but I have to work that Saturday, so I won't be on. But Splash Page is gonna be a great co-host, so go check them out next week. That's pretty much what I got going on. I got some other videos in the works. I'm still working on them. When I have time, I'll work. I'd rather sleep sometimes than do these videos.
I love sleep. I love it.
Yeah. So we'll check you guys next week if we make it next week. Later.